Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us.
The only deliverance the other nations are going to get is deliverance right into slavery. They're going to be our slaves, thus saith the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Jeremiah 30:16 tells you every last one of the other nations which are non-Israelites are going into captivity. They're going into slavery underneath the Israelites when the Israelites go back into rulership. When is the Israelites going to go back into rulership? When the Lord comes. That's what he's coming to do. He's coming to set up the Israelites in rulership, beginning with King David. And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power to victory and the dawn of a new era.
And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord Yahweh. Praise ye the Lord.
Beginning with those top banking families, which happen to be so-called white people. We're talking about the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. We're talking about the DuPonts. We're talking about the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, and families like that. Okay, so when Yahushua comes back, he's going to take away their rulership, which they're enjoying right now. That's the long and short of it.
You need to ministry, man. Thanks, James. I need 200 pounds by sunset.
Yes, sir. I'm on it, Master.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopefully the believers and listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right. The water for you brothers and sisters tuning in. Okay, to another morning news and prophecy. All right, I got a few videos, as of course, a few precepts to get into to explain, all right, what's going on, the happenings, the times that we're in. Okay, as the Lord has set up, his men, to be watching in the earth. Okay, so when you go here, I want to start out with some precepts, okay, because just as the Spirit had brothers, to speak about, all right, this devil, is using this whole C. Kirk situation, all right, CK, to push forth, unrighteous decrees. And that's what this thing was always about. Okay. So as we went into the lesson dealing with white Christian nationalism, okay, it's pretty much Edomite supremacy, with the banner of their, rulership, okay, is a righteous rulership ordained, by, God and Jesus. Okay. And that's why they shove Christianity down your throat, because it's saturated with Edomite supremacy. Their, all right, version of Christianity is nothing but, all right, Edomite supremacy, man. Okay. And now they're making it to where when you speak against that, all right, you're an enemy, you're a threat. Okay. You a terrorist. Okay. So when you go to Isaiah 29 and 18, it says, and in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book. And the deaf is speaking of Israelites. Okay. Because we fell away from who we were. And the words of the book is the Bible. Because there was a time when we were deaf, to the Bible. A lot of us grew up around the Bible. A lot of us grew up heavy into the Christian church, but we was deaf to the words of the book. Okay. But there was an appointed time when the Lord will allow, the Holy Spirit, okay, to resonate with the hopeful elect, okay, and the deaf will begin to hear the words of the book, which means to understand. It says, "In the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity, which is confusion, and out of darkness, man." So as the Lord is raising up His people, His elect, okay, there's a stir in the earth now. There's an uproar, okay, and it's starting with the top. You see, the elites are worried about this more than anything. They understand what this means. Okay, these everyday Edomites, okay, which are just out here, with this hatred towards Jake. They don't understand the root cause of this hatred. They just believe all the pseudoscience, from their philosophers and scientists, and, politicians. See, they just believe all that madness. They don't understand the root cause of it, but they at least understand us being awakened, okay, and coming out of the dust and shaking off the confusion, okay, of the devil. All right, this is a problem, okay, and this is what he really wants to address, okay, because niggas are not a threat to this man's kingdom, and he shows you he can shut niggas down at will. Okay, he made niggas and he can fold niggas back up like a lawn chair. Speaking with Esau, okay. Verse 19, it says, "The meek also shall increase, all right, their joy in the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel." And that's what we see happening, as we have been awakening. I have been awakened, and we see prophecy happening. The Lord is constantly showing that He's dealing. Our joy is increasing, man. And this is the problem in the earth, man. You see, the elites keep throwing all these smoke screens and, all this other madness and, confusion and the vision that they got in the earth. But ultimately, this is what everything is geared towards, man. Okay. And we're gonna show you in the video. Okay, it said, "For the terrible one is brought to naught," which is Esau. Okay. His kingdom is being brought to nothing. The Lord is breaking this place down. It starts with, all right, him being dismantled in the spirit. His enchantment is being weakened. All right. So this place, all right, is being broken down in the spirit. You see, it said, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity, okay, are cut off. They make a man an offender, all right, for a word, okay, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught." So this devil, okay, now he wants to bring draconian measures, okay, to anyone that opposes his wicked agenda, okay, and the ultimate, his prize, all right, his prize target is the prophets, man. Okay, so through his wicked legislation and unrighteous decrees, okay, he's making it, illegal, to speak against him and what he has going on. Okay, we're going into draconian measures. He's beginning to speak like a dragon, as the scriptures go into. Okay, so I want this. Want to get this video here. Okay. Let's go here to this video. Let's start off with this one. All right. So you got this guy here, and see, these are bills that they sign. You know, when everyone is distracted, you know, with all these other things that they have going on, they start to implement and push these particular bills, okay, to enforce what they really want to do in a later date. So let's play this. All right.
All right, guys. So we have some bombshell reporting here that I have to share with you, and shout out to Ken Klippenstein who got this for us. Trump's NSPM 7 labels common beliefs as terrorism indicators. The new directive targets anti-Christian, anti-American, and anti-capitalism opinions. So I'm going to break this down for you here, but the bottom line is Trump is ushering the power of the entire federal government and changing the mindset and the scope to say, hey, anybody who basically disagrees with us is a person of interest and a potential terrorist. And so it is perfectly fair game to spy on these people, to violate their privacy rights, to try to keep them out of positions of power, get them out of any position of power that they have. I mean, this is an all-out assault on freedom of speech and freedom of thought. That's what this is. With the mainstream media distracted by the made-for-TV drama of James Comey's indictment, Trump has signed a little-noticed national security directive identifying anti-Christian and anti-American views as indicators of radical left violence, called National Security Presidential Memorandum 7. It's being referred to as NSPM 7 by administration insiders.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can take down exact.
Quote, this is the first time in American history that there is an all-of-government effort to dismantle left-wing terrorism, Trump's Homeland Security advisor Stephen Miller said, referring to the issuance. To the extent that the major media noticed the directive at all, even C-SPAN incorrectly labeled it as an executive order, like this week's designation of Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. It's hard to overstate how much different NSPM 7 is from the over 200 executive Trump has frantically signed since coming back into office. An executive order publicly lays out the course of day-to-day federal government operations, whereas a national security directive is a sweeping policy decree for the defense, foreign policy, intelligence, and law enforcement apparatus. National security directives are often secret, but in this case, the Trump administration chose to publish NSPM 7, only the seventh since he's come into office. Previous national security directives have been controversial, even politically earth-shaking. In 1980, for example, President Jimmy Carter signed the top secret Presidential Directive 59, directing the new nuclear warfighting policies that persisted until the end of the Cold War. When revealed, PD 59 caused a public furor. Similarly, President George W. Bush signed a series of classified national security directives after 9/11, the most famous of which authorized NSA's unlawful domestic intercepts, a directive that wasn't publicly revealed until 4 years later. In NSPM 7, countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence, President Trump directs the Justice Department, the FBI, and other national security agencies and departments to fight his version of political violence in America, retooling a network of joint terrorism task force to focus on leftist political violence in America.
And they turning Trump, into Hitler right before you. Trump is Hitler 2.0. Okay, this is the authority, that was given to Hitler, all right, in Germany, okay, before World War II. Okay, so Trump, he's being fabricated to be another Hitler, all right, to where he can be violent, he can apprehend, okay, anyone that speaks against, okay, his political views, all right, and then they're saying anti-Christian. Now, you got to think about these terms. Who gets on the Christians more than anybody? Okay, when it comes to their doctrine, who has the most videos and content that goes against Christians? Now, we're not physically harming any Christians, and we don't promote that, okay? But this devil, he loves to spin the narrative. So who has the most content, all right, that's going against Christians and their doctrine and everything that they believe, okay? So when he says anti-Christian, he's talking about the Israelites, man, okay? Remember, that's the end goal. And you see, everything else is just a smoke screen, okay? And the play on the board, you see? So yeah, man, this devil, he's putting this into writing. Plus, it goes with all these other things that they have into writing. What's that? What's that law that you usually go into? Their order, where they can arm local police department. They can go get whatever weaponry they need from the feds.
DODI 5210 point.
Yeah, see if you can find it. So they already have it on the books, all right, to where local police enforcement have all access pretty much, all right, to federal grade weaponry, okay, military weaponry, man, to enforce these other decrees, man, okay. So when you hear terms like anti-Christian, all right, they're talking about the prophets, man, okay. Let's play this.
The vast counterterrorism army, made up of federal, state, and local agents, would, as Trump aide Stephen Miller said, form the central hub of that effort. NSPM 7 directs a new national strategy to disrupt any individual or groups that foment political violence, including before they result in violent political acts. Do you understand what's being said there? If you say the things that we don't like, if you say the things that we disagree with, if you say anti-Christian things and anti-American things and anti-capitalist things, we think that's a marker for violence. And so now we need to disrupt any individual or group that foments political violence that we just made up. Because, of course, there's no evidence any of these things are going to definitionally lead to political violence. That's fucking preposterous. That's like saying anybody, your aunt who posts on Facebook who votes MAGA, that's like me saying, oh, she's guaranteed to commit violence because she's MAGA. Really? Every single person is fucking guilty? Right? That would be, if we had the federal government under a Democrat doing that, they would scream bloody murder, and they'd be correct to scream it because they'd be saying, what? Literally anybody?
This course is about systems and system thinking. We use systems.
Anybody and everybody who votes Republican is by definition a terrorist or a terrorist in waiting, that now you're going to use the federal government to go after them. So they say we're going to disrupt any individuals or groups that foment political violence before they result in violent political acts. Do you understand? They're literally giving themselves the legal framework to go after anybody and everybody they disagree with. They're giving themselves the legal framework to make it so that this is a one-party state. That's what we're witnessing. A one-party country. They're trying to criminalize Democrats, liberals, and leftists. Period. Full stop. That's what.
All right. You know, liberals, leftists, Democrats, which, you know, Jake, all right, has been linked to all those things. As leftist, a Democrat, all right, and liberals. You see? So this devil, what he's doing, you know, he's doing a broad stroke. Okay. It's like throwing a big fishing net out there and just pulling in everything. So this is what the devil is doing with his laws. He's making it very vague. Okay, which pretty much gives him the green light to deem, all right, so many different things to be, all right, potential terrorists. And you don't even have to do the act. The fact that you're just joined to the left or, you know, these different groups, okay, or ideology, all right, you pose the threat of being a potential terrorist, man. Going back to thought crime, okay? Going back to what he wants his AI to be able to do. Even this devil, he has decrees. Okay? Did you find some on it?
I had to go straight to it.
Okay.
ChatGPT was being around, but I got the exact.
Yeah, see if you can find some short that kind of hit the point. But I got another video I want to go to because, okay, let's go here. And they're just setting it up to where these devils, all right, can deem, all right, who they want to be a threat to their society. All right, this is the devil's way of hurting the undesirables, okay, and being able to punish them, all right, severely. Okay, you found something?
Yeah, I'm just gonna summarize the first part and then just read the meat of it.
Go ahead.
It goes into this is the DOD 5240.01. And if you want to read it yourself, just go to section 3.3, read section A, B, and C. Well, we're gonna summarize it and then just read the main point of it from the instruction. And that goes into
what's the name of
DOD 5240.01. And then go to section 3.3.
5240.01. But you can go ahead and read.
But it goes into when the president or the secretary of defense is allowed now to take over and basically approve assistance between, because during COVID, that's when the federal government got control of the local law enforcement.
Yeah, the CV, the C19, the code.
Okay, come through. During C19 is when the federal government got control of the local law enforcement. This bill here allows them to arm the local law enforcement, I would say. So once you go to section 3.3, it talks about when the Secretary of Defense can do these things. So now you're seeing Trump, sending the National Guard everywhere. That's the point of this. So when you get down into it, it just basically says that they can provide assistance, and that assistance, when it goes into it, if you read section C, it says assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethal or any situation in which is reasonable, feasible, that providing request assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or seriously bodily harm. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individual or groups is reasonable and anticipated, such as the force must be in accordance with DOD 52.521056, potentially for further restricted bases and on a specific or requested support. It says provision or use of DOD unmanned systems going into the drones in the U.S., except as delegated by the Secretary of Defense pursuant to the October 31st, 2023 Secretary of Defense memorandum. And this one here came out last year. So basically, anytime Trump pushes and sends the National Guard anywhere, this bill here allows them to use unmanned drones and any type of weapon. That it basically gave them a get out of jail free card to just kill niggas if they want to.
Yeah, pretty much is around the way about, the wife bringing it out. And I got it highlighted. This is what the brother was reading here. This information here. All right, so this is here in the highlight, and see this double. All right, because this is a 22-page document. Okay, you comb through it, and you find different things. But yeah, this is what this devil has on the books, and it's a roundabout way of him being him legalizing the American military waging war on its own people, which that's unconstitutional. All right, but he's written, off ramp, all right, to do what he wants to do, and make it legal for the American military, all right, because when you're in the military, you're sworn to protect the homeland, So what he's done, he has rewritten these laws, to make it legal for military, all right, to be aggressive, to be an aggressor, towards civilians that is sworn to protect, and it's just wicked. This nigga the wicked, man. So let's go to this, because you say, the left, all right, because he can just deem anybody the left, or anti-government, and who speaks against this government more than us from the spirit, all right, according to what the Lord is going to do, because the Lord is against this government, okay, in this world. All right, if a brother want to post it in St. John 7:7, you see. So let's play this real quick.
We are all Antifa now. The designation of the amorphous group Antifa as a terrorist organization allows the state to brand all dissidents as supporters of Antifa and prosecute them as terrorists. Written by Chris Hedges for the Chris Hedges Report, chrishedges.substack.com. Read by Eunice Wong. Trump's designation of the amorphous group Antifa, which has no formal organization or structure, as a terrorist organization, permits the state to charge us all as terrorists. The point is not to go after members of Antifa, short for anti-fascist. It is to go after the last vestiges of dissent. When Barack Obama oversaw the coordinated national campaign to shut down the Occupy encampments, Antifa, so named because they dress in black, obscure their faces, move as a unified mass, and seek physical confrontations with police, was the excuse. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization, the president wrote in a Truth Social post. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Do you want to know the cheapest time to replace your air conditioning or heating system? It's when it's not too hot.
I have no love for
Now, when you hear this word, Antifa, okay, and then you can post that Isaiah 10:1 on there too. Yeah, Bible Shah. But yeah, when 10:1 and 2 Bible Shah. But when you hear this word Antifa, it goes into anti-fascist. All right, and fascist government is pretty much a dictator government. Like I say, what you had your Mussolinis, all right, your Stalins, all right, I say your Hitlers. These men that have been demonized to you by the West for all these years, and now they're bringing that same style government to the West. Okay, and so Antifa just goes into anti-fascist, which is a group, okay, that they're irrelevant, okay, but it's a category that he can put people into. Okay, so Antifa stands for anti-fascist. So if you're against a dictator government, well, it makes you Antifa. If you're against what they're, all right, the way that they have government going, then they could just deem you Antifa. You have Antifa ideology. See, they can link you through ideology. Okay, if you have one belief, okay, or you, all right, agree on any point with Antifa, he can just lump you in there and say you're Antifa. Okay, which makes you what? A terrorist. And once they deem you a terrorist, you don't have any rights. Like a nigga say, like a nigga think he know the Constitution. But nigga, if they deem you a terrorist, ain't no Constitution. They can execute you on the spot. They can execute your family. Mm-hmm. Okay, you went into that one time before, bro. What them Geneva laws?
Geneva Convention.
Yeah, Geneva Convention. Yeah. So if they say, well, look, this dwelling is housing the terrorists. Mm-hmm. So look, we can blow up the whole. They can blow up the whole dwelling. Yeah. Okay, and then what? It's just gonna be their story. It was
national security.
Yeah, national security was a terrorist in there. Mm-hmm. Everybody dead, so ain't no opposing narrative. You see, and this is what these devils are on. Real time. This is what these devils do. You see. Yes, on you want to add, bro?
No, you got it, bro.
Okay.
I was just dropping precept.
So yeah, I'm gonna play the rest of this, and we're gonna get them precepts and segue to another video. Play a little bit more then.
Antifa. The feeling is mutual. I was a fierce opponent of the Black Bloc anarchists who identified with Antifa. They embedded themselves in Occupy encampments and refused to take part in the collective decision-making. They carried out property destruction and initiated clashes with the police. Occupy activists were Antifa's human shields. I wrote that Antifa was a gift from heaven to the security and surveillance state. David Graeber, whose work I respect, wrote
was a gift from the heavens, all right, to the surveillance state. No, they were set up. Those are nothing but agents, all right, provocateurs, okay, that are set up, to, cause ruckus, okay, and to be looked at, as this group of terror, this violent, political, radical, okay, ideology, okay, and they're nothing but CIA operatives that are doing these things. Now there might be some simple, of course you have this authentic following, all right, but the leadership and these particular things that are done, all right, are done by agent provocateurs. When it comes to Antifa and these certain marches, I think you had something with Ice Cube. He was under attack by Antifa. Like, what? Yeah, you gotta understand. You look at this devil and how he's moving, it don't make sense. Okay, like Ice Cube, Antifa. Like, how did it even go together? Hell yeah, this nigga, man. You see, but pull this video up and get a couple of these precepts.
Ice Cube and Antifa.
Yeah. Oh, you can read that, bro.
This is St. John chapter 7, verse 7. It says, the world hateth you, but it hateth me because the world cannot hate you, but it hated it. But me it hated because it testified of it that
because I testify of it. Yep.
Because I testify of it that the works thereof are evil.
Mm-hmm. And then you probably read it right here.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So the Bible condemns this world and everything that Esau Edom is doing. So if we're all right in agreement with the Bible, by default, we're against this world. You see, we're against this age. Yahushua is against this age. Okay, this place is condemned by the Holy Scriptures. And here it is, these devils are so hypocritical, they'll call themselves Christians, okay, with the Bible in their hand, but everything that they built, okay, in their rulership is anti-Messiah. Okay, and as we come as the true followers of the Messiah, the true followers of Yahushua, okay, guess what? That puts us, all right, in opposition with this world, this hypocritical world, man. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, man, this devil, he just being blatant with it, and there's no uproar, man, because you people are so goddamn distracted. All right, a nigga number one concern is Shadur Sanders gonna start Sunday. What is Travis Hunter? Should he play offense and defense? That's a nigga top argument right now. Why these devils, okay, are putting all these things in the book, for the time of tribulation, man, for them to go forth with their sword. Okay, you got it, bro. Isaiah 10:1.
This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness, yep, which they have prescribed.
Yeah, so these things are already prescribed, which means written before. So they cause events to happen, so they're able to enact these wicked decrees, which they've already prescribed. You see, they already have down before scribe written. So these things are already on the books. So all they have to do is just keep causing these events to happen, like these CK events, okay, that happen. All right, and they're able to enact all these wicked, decrees of grievousness, man. Okay, for them justify them just to being a terror to anyone that opposes their wickedness, man. That's what it's all about. Okay, and their top target is the prophets, man. We can't say it enough. Okay, you can read verse 2, bro.
Verse 2, Isaiah 10:2. Turn aside the needy from judgment, yep, and to take away the right from the poor of my people. Mm-hmm. That widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless.
Yeah, because a widow and the fatherless, they was the most vulnerable of society. all right, which, our people are the most vulnerable in this society, okay? And the devil is all about, keeping us in an oppressed state, keeping us in a degenerate state. And that's why I say that these elites are agitated that we've awakened to who we are, all right? That we're not niggas, we're not, the women not hoes. And no, they're agitated because we've awakened, in righteousness, man. That's their number one agitation, man. So these devils, all right, are trying to fast track their way to demonizing the prophets, man. Okay? Come on, bro. Let me get this. You got it, bro. Yep.
This is Psalm 64 and 1. It says, hear my voice, O power, and my prayer, and preserve my life from the fear of the enemy.
Yeah, and this is our prayer, that we're protected in these times, man. And this is things that, we ought to pray for, going into, this is the time of atonement, as, we're, fasting as a nation, we should constantly pray, to be protected and be preserved from the devil and all his wickedness, because this man, he thinks that he's going to have his way with the believers, man. He thinks that he's going to do the believers the same way the Lord's are going to allow him to do the 2/3, man. But it's not going to be so. It's written that he's not going to have that leeway when it comes to, all right, the believers, man. And this is what we pray for, man. This is at the forefront of our priority, is being protected in these times, man, to be covered. Okay? All right, you got it, bro.
Verse 2, it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
Yeah, so these are what these devils discuss, okay? And these are the things that they implement, all right, in these secret councils and meetings, okay, about ways to take this truth, man, destroy this truth. That's weird. Like I said, that's the target. Their secret counsel is to remove all opposition, okay, mainly the truth, okay, because this truth is the number one, all right, opponent, okay, against this devil's new world order. So, as the scriptures say, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, because their counsel, okay, is to destroy the righteous, man. Okay. But the Lord is going to protect us to be hidden, all right, to be preserved from everything that the devil has on the books, man. Okay. You got it, bro.
Verse 3, it says, who wet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
Yeah, even bitter words. Okay. So they have weaponized what they're doing. They're weaponizing, okay, their legislation. Okay. They're pretty much writing, okay, death on the books. Okay. Now, this devil is putting in his legislation, okay, greens like him to do what? It justifies him. It legitimizes him to what? To come with the sword. This is what this devil is doing, man. He speaks particular things and he writes particular things and he pushes propaganda, okay, so that he's able to look like the good guy. And he just carrying out the law. It ain't that he's against, righteousness. No, I'm just carrying out the law. This is the law now. And that's what he presents to the simple. You got it, bro.
Verse 4, it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
Yeah, so suddenly do they shoot, okay, at him and fear not. Because, you go into shoot, it goes into instruct. Because even you look at our people, and the word shoot, I think it goes into Yerah, okay, because even you go into Jerusalem, all right, Yerash Shalom, all right, which is the city that teaches peace, okay, because the word Yerah goes into teach, okay. So these devils, they have instructed our people, to be wicked. All right, you got it, bro.
This the blue letter for that word shoot.
3384.
Yeah, Yerah.
Yara.
Mm-hmm.
Yara.
Yeah.
Outline of biblical usage, section C, point section C4, it says to direct, to teach, or to instruct.
Yep, to direct, to teach, or instruct. Okay, so these devils, like, even because see, they're able to blame Jake and make Jake the face of being a criminal. Well, who instructed Jake to be that way? Okay, who gave Jake the drugs? Who gave Jake the guns? Who glorified degenerate culture? Okay, who incentivized degenerate behavior by giving Jake record deals and putting these niggas on world tours and making it seem like, a dope boy, romanticized being a street nigga and a dope boy? Who instructed him? Okay, Esau Edom. So he can always have, all right, a scapegoat in his kingdom. So say, look at them niggas. When the pressure get on him, he can always say, well, look at these niggas. Okay, look at the nigga woman. That's all the resources. Look at, all right, Big Shirley and all these goddamn food stamps. Well, who instructed them to be like that, man? You devils, you know? So I'm gonna get this video here. So here it is. You have another mass shooting. Okay, which they're just as normal as your morning coffee. A mass shooting, and this goes back to conditioning as well. Which a lot of these things be staged, but you're gonna have authentic, organic, mass shootings, man, because people mimic what they see, because the TV screen, TV programming is programming people. All right, to now mass shooting is a cultural norm in America, man. Okay, you got people canceling, people from other countries canceling their trip to America. All right, because they don't feel safe. Well, that's something Rogers and me and the brother get into one of these weeks. Got a few videos going into that, but America is like one big ghetto, man. So let's play this, because you had another mass shooter, but this guy's a Trump supporter. Okay, and this shows you that this man's narrative is all over the place, man. Okay, because Jake does a lot of violence within their own vicinities. Okay, but who's known to just shoot up every goddamn thing, anywhere, anytime? Okay, so let's play this real quick, because Esau, that's his nature, to be violent like that.
Welcome, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. A terrible weekend in Michigan for some. A Trump-supporting Marine veteran opened fire in a Mormon church in Michigan. And there's the human tragedy of this. There's the reality that MAGA world is losing control of their left-wing violence narrative that they've been pushing since the killing of Charlie Kirk. I'm going to talk about both aspects of this. We're going to talk about media coverage. This is in the midst of a horrible, tragic event of another damn shooting in the United States. There are a lot of stories, a story about violence, a story about media coverage. So we're going to get into it here. As I mentioned, this shooting did take place at a Mormon church. At least 4 were killed as of this moment. At least 8 were wounded as of this moment. The perpetrator is known to be 40-year-old male, Thomas Sanford. I guess I should say white male. And this is one of these things where it's not that we say that for any particular reason of stigma or prejudice, but because these shootings are often analyzed through the lens of identity, I guess it's sort of correct for me to say 40-year-old white male Thomas Sanford, Marine veteran, rammed church's front door with his pickup before ultimately killed in a gunfight with 2 police officers within 10 minutes of the start of this tragic event. Now, we don't yet know the motive for this specific shooting. We are learning a lot about the shooter's right-wing beliefs. There was a Trump-Pence poster hanging on his fence just above a red stop sign. We're going to get back to the stop sign in a moment. Some say, oh, the stop sign meant He wants to stop Trump, aka he is anti-Trump. Every bit of information we have at this point contradicts that and indicates this was a very clearly, ardently pro-Trump individual. Social media posts are filled with MAGA and typical right-wing content. This includes pro-Turning Point USA and pro-Charlie Kirk content, stuff about stay away from the vaccine, stuff about Trump being a great golfer, I guess is what it seems to be in the bottom right there. The shooter had been seen wearing a Trump 2020 campaign shirt in camouflage, designed with the Make Liberals Cry Again line. That's from a picture posted to social media in 2019. We also know about 2 petitions signed by the shooter, one for the petition to repeal the pandemic powers of Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and another one to outlaw abortion in Michigan. Now, we are going to hear all of the usual things that we hear when the shooter is right-wing. This was not a gun issue. This was not a political issue. This was a lone nut job, crazy guy. We are going to hear, because he attacked a church, this is anti-Christian motivation. Interesting, by the way, that depending on whether it's convenient or not, evangelicals and Protestants and other Christians will or won't acknowledge that Mormons are Christian. This is a whole other thing where, I mean, listen, Mormons are followers of Jesus. As a non-Christian, they're certainly Christian in the general sense. But much like with the Amish, when convenient versus not convenient, you will hear these are Christians versus these are not. Okay, we will get back to that as well. They are going to, I mean, listen, we'll probably hear, forget about the fact that he was wearing a Trump shirt. Forget about the fact that he had a Trump sign. Forget about the fact that his social media was riddled with pro-Trump stuff. His wife's ex-boss's sister's cousin's hairdresser once said, trans people are human too. So therefore, this is left-wing violence, right? We're not there yet, but I would not be surprised if we get to that. They're going to pull out their proverbial Sharpies and make this what they need it to be and make this what they want it to be. Now, there's another issue here that I think is important to talk about. We're going to get there. Trump is already reacting to this. Caroline Leavitt is trying to do a cleanup on aisle 5. We are seeing reports about political violence misrepresented. And okay, there's another issue here that I think is important to mention, aside from the fact that the shooter was obviously a pro-Trump MAGA guy. Former military becoming shooters.
So as you can see, all right, it's just more, propaganda, so whether there was something organic or it was completely staged, all right, one thing it does, it distracts, okay, and, it just adds fuel to this feud between the left and the right, all right, so this is the church, so he shot up 4 people, all right, he killed 4 people, I don't know how many people were shot, all right, but he killed 4 people, then he set the church on fire, This is Edomite terror. So this is, you see, like I say now, Jake, they shoot each other upside the head, but Jake ain't doing all this, man. Okay, this is what Edomite terror looks like. Okay, one man. Okay, you see, and he's a MAGA guy. So how they're going to spin this, it's going to be interesting. But this is Esau, man. Okay, this is how these devils get down, man. They're the violent man. Okay, so somehow they gonna link this to Jake. Okay, like that guy Stephen Miller. Here it is. It's an Edomite that took out another Edomite. However that narrative goes. Well, Stephen Miller, he's on there talking about y'all niggas ain't created nothing. Y'all don't produce nothing. Like, damn. Like, there's a nigga on the comment board says, a black man, I feel threatened. So it's like, how they're going to reach and link this to Jake, man. That's gonna be interesting to see him do it, but that's what they're gonna do. Okay, so let's go back, man. I'll get a few more precepts. All right, so let's go here to the book of Revelation, chapter 12. Okay, because this devil, he's about to lose, man. Yahweh Shai, the only answer is Yahweh Shai to come make war with the devil. Okay, so let's go. Let's read this. Revelation 12:7.
This Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. It says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
Yeah, so this is this final showdown. Okay, when Yahweh Shai, because Michael, he represents the heavenly host, which he's going to be under, the order of Yahweh Shai. All right. So this is Yahweh Shai going to war with the dragon, man. Okay. This is the Yahweh Shai and the heavenly host going to war, okay, with Esau's power structure, which is wrong, revived in the earth. It's dragon. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 8, it says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
Yeah, so the Lord is going to remove this man from his place of rulership. Okay. This man is going to be completely, uprooted. All right. He won't have any, remnant of his rulership. All right. His rulership not going to be weakened. No, it's going to be completely stripped. All right. And the remnant of these Edomites going straight into captivity, man, starting with these elites. Okay. So he's getting ready to lose this war against Yahweh Shai and the host, man. Okay. That's what all these things are leading to. When he gets through being tacky and all over the place, he got to deal with Yahweh Shai, man. Go ahead.
Verse 9, it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Yeah, so this is Esau's military being obliterated. Okay, his angels, it just represents, his air force. Okay, the angels of Satan, because Esau, Edom, his workings are after the working of Satan. He's the adversary in the earth, man. He's adverse to righteousness. Okay, so him, and his military are going to be cast to the earth, man. The elites, and their power that they've been given, is going to be obliterated. And his physical military is going to be obliterated. You're going to be cast out with him. You see? So, verse 10, and just the point.
Verse 10, it says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come down salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night.
Yeah, so the devil is known as the accuser, but now Yahweh Shai is going to usher in the kingdom. Okay, this third world's war is going to usher in the kingdom of Yahweh Shai, the throne of David. Okay, so this devil, as he's getting ready to accuse the brethren, okay, well, guess what? He's going to provoke a war. Okay, in the heavens. You see? Yahweh Shai is going to come to this realm and take this devil to war as he getting ready to accuse the brethren, the believers, man. Okay? The scripture speak about how he's going to avenge the blood of the saints. Okay? So when this devil goes to make his move toward the prophets, that's going to be an act of war. All right? And Yahweh Shai is going to come and intervene. Okay? On behalf of the believers, man. All right? So, that was the point, we just wanted to get into that this morning, with news and prophecy. So Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified, once again, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Chabadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.
Shalom.